In the show Hollywood, they're making a movie called Meg. And there are scenes from Meg that we see. We see them being made. We also see the final output of that. Mm-hmm. Can you talk to us about the way that you created the look of that, like the movie within the movie with Meg?
It was a combination of, lighting and research on, the film look of that period and, stocks and, the studio space that they were in, a lot of research on lighting and, units that they would have used back then, but we don't have access to now. So I had to kind of recreate that with modern lights. So one of the things that we did earlier on was to kind of almost use slightly more old school tungsten units to give it a little bit more grit and didn't feel too shiny. And then, we were also plunging into like the ratio of that period, which was more 1:3:3 or 1:3:7. I can't quite remember between the two, which is, it's, Polaroid, kind of ratio. So that was interesting because we were shooting our entire show at 2.20 ratio, which is closer to widescreen. And so there were also discussions from Ryan about how we would come into the movie and come out of the movie. So we would start, 4:3. And then at some point it would creep and slowly open until we're finally into the movie and it's full screen, but still retaining that kind of that look that was so distinct. And I think, like I said, what I was saying earlier about the film noir references, that was when we went full tilt film noir. Some of the sequences was handed over to another cinematographer, lovely Blake McClure, who came in and helped out. We had the Hollywood sign, which they, recreated within the stage. There's the reference back to, Peg Antwistle, who was the original person it's based on, who jumped from the Hollywood sign in suicide. And we kind of also, wove in, sort of subtle breathing to the projection,
Talk to me about that. What do you mean?
It's almost like recreating as if you're watching it in the cinema rather than at home, So the technology back then wasn't great, when it came to the projection. So Tanner, who was the post-production colorist at MTI, he kind of played around with some stuff, and I kind of came in and he showed me some examples, and I kind of liked what he was doing. It was very subtle, but it stood apart from, the main show, And also, we had screen tests on top of that in the show. So they had to be relating another look, which was a little bit closer to, like the Marlon Brando screen tests back then, So they were a little bit more high key, a little more low budget feeling. But the movie, it was a combination of a lot of things, and
what did you shoot it on?
And we shot it on the Sony Venice, like we shot the rest of the show on, And
okay.
We ended up, the TV show was shot on Primos, and I kind of for the certain moments I ended up using, certain focal lengths, like 50 mils, 65 mils for certain parts of those, those scenes in Meg movie.